What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So we have our first major update on the 1972 fleet side pickup, or footer side, or whatever you want to call it, C10, which is what I like to call it, from AMT. And if you remember, I am doing basically a fully custom version. I did a full-on video on what I was going to do, and I showed you the chassis and stuff. And now we got it all pretty much all prepped, and we got it basically right here all mocked up. And I love to do this because make sure it is going to fit correctly, because again, this is a completely different chassis with a completely different engine and all that fun stuff, and I gotta make sure it all fits. So that's why we're doing all this mock-up stuff. If you're new here, you know, that's what I like to do. If you're an older timer, then you know this is difficult for you. So this is basically how she's gonna sit, as right here. She might sit a little bit higher, she might sit a little lower, who knows, but this is where she's gonna averagely sit when it's going to be completed. And I just got to get that idea and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and show you everything. So we got the engine in there, we got everything else is in there. So first, before we start taking the truck apart, we want to show you the grill. So if you remember, we did a full-on 3D printed, basically open grill, because this grill has this major grill part right here shut. This is how it was. This was in there, and it wasn't open. So since we're doing this custom chassis, we need it open, because the reason why it wasn't open is because it's like basically like a promo style curbside kit kind of thing. I mean, it had an engine, but didn't have much radiator detail or anything like that. So that's why it wasn't mold open. But since we are having a radiator in there and nice exposed chassis, there's no reason to not have it open anymore. So we cut that out and we got that open. And I went ahead and drew out the headlights. I do have to do a little more cleanup. I do have to make them more rounder. But we are going to put on some actual headlights. And I got some headlights, like lenses, in my parts bin. And we got these in my parts bin. We're going to put behind here and just make them look more better than the ones that came molded into the actual grill. So make this look nicer. And then this is not glued in. As you can see, it just pops right out. Fits perfect in there. So we're gonna paint this a separate color, I think, probably black, or like a nice dark gunmetal or something. And then this we might do in like a different color. I'm not exactly sure. We're gonna show you the color, or not show you about, because I don't have the color right now, because I did contact Sam over at Splash Paints, and he might send me a color for this. And all of our good stuff here, like the chrome bumper and stuff. Again, I tried shipping this chrome. AMT's chrome is really strong. I mean, I got most of it off, but that was sitting in there for over 12 hours, the grill and bumpers and stuff, and this chrome is really strong. And then we got the bed liner. So I might use this, I'm not sure yet. It will go on there, and I'm actually gonna think about using it. It's gonna look slick. There we go. And yeah, so we might make a hinge mechanism where we can have it hinged up. I'm not sure yet, but I think it might be pretty cool. But we got that all sanded. This kit, it does have it molded in where it has rivets, or not rivets, but make it textured, so it's like a cloth. But I didn't want that because I want it in like body color. So we had to sand it all down and made it smooth, and that looks pretty good. But we just have to sand it and make sure it's scuffed up and stuff for the primer to stick to. So there's all that. And all of the suspension stuff come over, so I couldn't just really mock it in there, but we do have a 4-link. Here's our like sway bar linkages right there. So that's pretty cool. Our suspension, battery, and brakes, and drive shafts. I didn't really put all that in there because I didn't really feel like it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start taking this truck apart. So we're just gonna go ahead and take out the bed. It's like I just don't want to do this because it just looks so cool. But again, we are gonna have to take it apart. Wow, that's really locked in there. There we go. Jeez. All right, so here is the bed. So really cool thing about this bed is the actual bed part is separate. So I'm really glad that is. Obviously, we would have to cut this out. So we just assembled the bed. I did mount it on here, so everything is squared up and straight, and then we just kind of spread out the sides and just pop this out. So yeah, so there is the bed, and that looks pretty good. I did put on the actual tailgate because I'm not gonna have this functional. So we got that in there, and then all that good stuff. And we did have to make a little divot back here, so the exhaust, as you can see right there, will peek through, because always it's going to be up here and then there's nowhere the exhaust can go. So we had to cut out the little nivage or notch at the back of a bed so the exhaust can peek out. And then also, not even on the bed but also on the cab, we got rid of all of the side trim. So there's a trim up here, there's a trim down here, and then also all the Chevrolet emblem back here and stuff, that was all in there. I went ahead and got all that out, and even the turn signals, I want this filled in because this is a custom version. Some custom trucks have those indicators, and some didn't have them. So the ones that the truck I want to kind of to replicate, it doesn't have them. So, and it gives it much more cleaner look without them. So that's what we did, and we just sand all that down, and it looks good. And yeah, so the bed, very nice, and we got all that, and then you can get more of an idea of what's going on inside the bed here. So first things first is the wheels. These are the wheels that were going. Really nice. I did make them a little bigger because these are the ones I showed you on the actual video, and they are a little bit smaller, as you can see here. I think they're a little bit too small for this truck, so we're going to keep those wheels, probably put them in a car or something. But since this is a truck, we need them a little bit bigger. So these are 20-inch wheels, I believe, 20 to 21-inch wheels, and it looks really nice. We got a nice side profile on there, and then we got Michelin, good old Michelin wheels on there, tires. So that looks really good, and yeah, that looks super nice. And then yeah, those are look really clean in there, and just place it to build a little bit extra with those bigger wheels. We got our gas tank back here, so that fits nicely. So I showed you this, pretty clean. It's all cleaned up, so that's ready to go. And then here is our hydraulic tanks, you want to call them. Those I showed you as well. They just mount up on the side on those brackets, so those look very nice. And then I figured out where the air compressors go, and that bracket, because I had no idea what that bracket was for, and I found where it was. You know, that's the thing with these 3D printed chassis. You just kind of got guess and try to figure out where things would go. So we got the pumps there, and then there is that brace that goes right there. So there's that, and then up here on this part, you might be wondering, well, that's where the battery goes. The battery will go right up there. So that's gonna be pretty cool. And then it's gonna power the actual truck, and it's gonna power the air compressors too, that battery. So that's pretty cool. So we figured out where that bracing thing goes, and there's the part of our exhaust. Really nice. That took a bit of time to measure and to try to figure out where the exhaust actually peaks out, so I can cut the notch on the bed. So that's why there's actually some black marker on this one, because I was trying to get some black marker on there and just try to beat it against the side of the bed so I can figure out where it goes. But very cool. So our exhaust is in there. Here is our axle, really nice. And the hole there is there for the sway bars to connect to on the back. And then there's the other part of our exhaust, which you probably already seen. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and pop out those front wheels. So front wheels are just a little bit skinnier. Yeah, they're skinnier. So, but not bad though. And they're about I think they're the same size. I'm not exactly sure. No, just a tad bit smaller for the front. So that looks good, and yeah, so really nice. Then again, Michelin front tires as well, so that looks good. I like these spoked wheels; they look really nice, and then they're gonna make the truck really pop out and stuff. And then we got our engine plant in there. So I am gonna go with a completely different engine, because I did mock up this engine bay with the 632 engine that I was initially gonna go with, and I found out that engine was way too big for this truck, because it was peeking out through the firewall. Not firewall, but it was peeking out through the hood, and I did not want to drill a hole in the hood for the supercharger or the intake, because I wanted this to be clean. I didn't really want to, you know, like I said, I don't want to drill any holes for the supercharger or anything like that. So we are going to go with a completely different engine plant, and we'll show you that right here. It is a smaller engine, but it is still a Chevy engine. This is a Chevy Z01 yeah, Z01 Camaro engine, V8 obviously, and really nice with an automatic transmission. So we got that in there. So yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but this is still producing a lot of horsepower. I believe it's producing 650 or 670, somewhere around there, horsepower-ish. So very nice. It has plenty of horsepower for this truck for what it is, and it looks good. So let's go ahead and get these sticks out of here, and then let's go ahead and pull out our cab. Well, we'll show you real quick. There's our engine bay. We have our Chevrolet badge in there. There's our cross member for the steering and the engine mount. There we go. And then, yeah, very cool. So if you number this, I had to cut all this out. We'll show you. I kept some of those parts here, but here's the fenders we had to cut out. So there's the side fenders. There's like part of the promo style. It has these like pins and stuff that kind of peeked out. Those went down here, and that's why the grill wasn't open. And then, you know, I had to cut out the battery, the original battery. So there was a lot of cutting on this. And then also, of course, like I showed you, the grill. So it was a lot of cutting. And then we'll go ahead and show you the grill. Well, it's out now, but it's going to look in there like nice. And then yes, that's why it's open now. So because you can be able to see in there, obviously. So really, really cool. Then we got our outer part exhaust. He does offer these as 3D printed, but only put one. So, but I got some tubing, obviously, same exact size. So that was good. There's our outer part exhaust, which we'll show you that here in a sec. Let's go ahead and pop that out, and then there's our chassis, and here is the actual mufflers. Those just pop right out, so very clean. And then we have our bare chassis. Very cool. So we got that. Let's pull this out. We'll show you the interior real quick in a little bit. But there's our side trim. It's all off. And then we are, filled in side marker lights. So really clean. And then of course back here we have ahead and filled in these pins where the original bed would attach to. These we are still using these because, well, we are still using those pins, and those will actually help us line up the bed and fix right in. So really cool. So looks nice, and then that's just gonna line up really nicely. And then yeah, there's our cut out fenders. And so yeah, that took a bit of time. Wasn't too bad actually. So, but yeah, very cool, very cool. And then our hood still fits on there, so really neat with the firewall in there. Without the chassis and the firewall kind of holds the back of the hood up still. So right now the hood will fall through, but very cool. So there's our cab. The last thing we're going to show you is, of course, our interior. You might be wondering, why is there a big gaping gap in the in the floor? Well, we had to do that to get this transmission there, because this is a thicker transmission, and well, we needed that extra thickness to go inside the actual interior bay. So we're going to scratch build a transmission tunnel in there. So not too big a deal. We'll just make an actual tunnel, so we can make that out of styrene sheet. Not too big a deal. But we are using the kit interior, and we should be able to make this very nice. We will probably do some nice design on the seats and stuff. And yeah, so the interior should look nice. And then we are using the stock dashboard, the stock steering wheel. I wanted to keep the stock steering wheel. Basically keep the interior stock as I want to, and it looked pretty cool. So, but yeah, so only modification we gotta do to the interior is just cut out the transmission tunnel, and we just have to make it a little bit bigger so the automatic transmission go in there, because it's a thick transmission, and it needs the extra room. Without that, the engine or the interior would just kind of floats there, and then the body won't go down straight. So that's the reason why we're doing that. So, but other than that, that's pretty much about it. The color, again, I am not going to go with the colors that I showed you, because again, I wasn't so sure back in my other video, but I got it figured out. Sam helped me. So when I get the colors in, we might do another update. If not, obviously my next video will probably be the full-on painting video on this cab and stuff. So stay tuned for that. And I can't wait till this thing's looking really, really clean. And hopefully we should be able to get this thing into paint by next weekend. Obviously they have to do a little more sanding here and there, a little more cleanup, but other than that, it's looking good, and it's gonna look really, really nice. But other than that, guys, that's it for this update, and until my next video, we'll catch you next time.